I'd like to talk about our own community. Not a community, it was a reserve. And it's still reserved today. Even though they put this community over us to be under their corporate system. Well, how about you not being fair, because you are all under oath. We are spiritual people of this land. And you broke every oath that's been put in front of you, that you can read in the Bible and everywhere else in your courts. So, we don't need people like you. We need you to be standing with us, not against us. Because we've got the rights too. We hold a story of every human being here now on this planet. We hold a history. We hold a story of when it began, when time began, and how you got your promised land. How about you people from the Western world and around the world stand up and ask yourself, tell yourself the truth. You need to know about who told you about your promised land. Because we're sitting here now in your face with the answer. And it's like you're meant to be deaf because you're not listening. You're meant to be blind. You can't see anything going on. Well, you want to be deaf? You want to be blind? Keep playing with our law. Our L-O-R-E, not our L-A-W. And for all you people that's here, standing with us as sovereignty people of yourselves, well, how about we stand as one, be governed by one, not these people think they know our ways. They'll never know our ways. We're here for a reason. And it's not because of these mob, how they're treating our families. The ancestors' direct families. This is how we're treated. So these mob around the Western world, they come, it's your fight too, man. Because we're speaking from the ones that gave us our rights, our human rights. We're coming from the great-grandfather and grandmother that birthed the humans. So how about you stand with us? What's happening in the communities, what people don't know is that we ask for the fundings, and it's supposed to go out to the rural areas staying in the urban town. That's the government's responsibility. They're double-dipping, right? They got their fingers and everything. Well, maybe we should start chopping them off. Darwin region, like Port Keith, they're over there throwing them on the bus like cattle to go and get this injection. Who are these people, mate? What are these people? You got a heart? Does your heart beat? Because we got rocks out here, sacred rocks, mate, can stop you in your tracks. So don't go there. We're not going to be threatened on our land. This is our promised land, still to this day. It was never given to anybody like you government mob who walked in and thought you can take it after you stole a loaf of bread from your mother country to come here to steal our whole country. Who the hell are you people? From our fathers and mothers' days and our grandfather and grandmother, where they put this label, on all blackfellas all here in Australia, and we're seen as label. That's all the white government sees us as a label. Well, no, we're going to put the label back on you. You, Mr. Nobody people. You walk with no spirit, no soul. Remember, we're the seventh spirit family. We never broke an oath. You broke every oath that was written. The 10 Commandments you broke. You should ask yourself, if this is the progress will, how do you fit in reality? Be honest with yourself.
What is the treatment like of community people?
Well, the treatment, it started like in the early 70s. That's the time to be here. Everybody has been mingling. You could leave your house open. You won't get anything stolen. But the lead up after that 73, when the Queen was stood down, and these Bushranger government took over, this is where the problem started.
So what do you mean by the Queen was stood down? Tell us.
Well, she was stood down in 1973.
Yep.
Well,
that was because of the UN resolution?
That's right, and they're supposed to hand everything back to us as a people. But this foreign entity, or this government mob now that's here governing on this land today, they're there for the wrong reason. They weren't even voted in. They just put themselves. Isn't this stealing? Isn't this embezzling? This is your white man law, L-A-W, yeah. Not our law, L-O-R-E. And that's the first law of all laws. So you will answer our questions now. No more things from you. We want you to answer us now. No more questions to be thrown back on us.
Yeah. So I can speak from personal experience. I worked for this quasi-government as Assistant Director of Australian Bureau of Statistics Census in East Arnhem Land. So I took on that position because I thought that the people in the region of East Arnhem Land needed a correct count and information about what is happening in their communities, because their communities are massively overcrowded. Everything is massively run down. The money is not going to the communities. People around this country think that the Indigenous people receive billions and billions of dollars, and that is a lie. The government funnels it back through their own departments and through their own contracted companies that they are part of.
Self-royalty people.
Yep.
Collecting royalty off our Aniyuyima, our promised land, our country.
So one of the biggest misconceptions is that these people have got all of this access to these fundings that are supposed to go through them through Indigenous Business Australia and you know, like the Close the Gap funding and all of these organisations that are part of the government, but they don't receive it. It's not getting to them. It goes to the community, and then it goes straight out of the community to all the contract organisations that are owned by these big corporations. Now, the average household person per home in Gapawiak community is 25. Can you imagine what your infrastructure would be like? You know, imagine your toilet facilities and your laundry. These are the actual figures. 25 people per home. This is what they have to endure. This is by design. I also work for the federal government in Prime Minister and Cabinet as a senior executive. I've seen the fraud. I saw all the companies that were receiving the hundreds of millions of dollars that were supposed to be going to the communities, and these organisations are funneling it off to each other. These government departments do handshake deals. It's under the table, and they're all rorting the system. The whole system is a rort. It's a lie. They're cheating, and they're hurting Indigenous people. We have the highest numbers of Indigenous incarceration in the world. In the Northern Territory, the youth detention is 100% Indigenous. We have the highest numbers of deaths in custody per capita in the world. over 570 deaths in custody, and not one person has been any jail time from these corporate police that we have. Unfortunately, we're living in a society which is ruled by the elites, ruled by greed, deception, corruption. This is where we're living at the moment, people. We can change this. We can change the narrative. We are humans. We can live together as friends and family on this beautiful continent that we live in. We can change the status quo. I love the Indigenous people. They have the most beautiful culture that I have ever seen in the world. I'm touched by it. I feel its presence as part of my life because I respect any tribal nation that I walk on their land. I have that respect for them. I ask them if it's okay for me to be on their tribal estate. That is called respect. I have that genuine respect and heartfelt love for the tribal people of this country. If we but listen and learn from the knowledge and experience that they have, this will be the greatest country in the world.
So what are you going to do about it, Mr. Government? Are you going to stand with us or against us?
I wanted to say one more thing. We have over 25,000 kids in foster care in this country, and nearly 80% of them are Indigenous. So that's over 18,000 Indigenous children in foster care. We talk about a stolen generation. It's exactly the same. They just call it a different name. They take kids from their families, and this is what they're doing. They are coming for our children. We need to wake up. This is happening right now. I stand with this man. He's a powerful man. He holds the true law of this country, tribal law. He is a true law holder. He wants to stand with all of us and work together in unity to create a beautiful country again.